Students, in my last video, we have discussed about nutrition, types of nutrition and photosynthesis. Today we will read about other modes of nutrition in plants. Though you all know that plants are autotrophs and they prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. But some non-green plants are there which cannot synthesize their own food because they do not have chlorophyll pigments. Such plants depend on others for their food. Their mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. Some plants are parasitic in nature as they depend upon the host for their food. The common example is Cuscuta. It is also known as Amarbel or Dodder. It appears as yellowish thread-like structures without leaves, growing on other plants called host, and derives its nutrition from it by causing harm to the plant. Students, you must have heard about insectivorous plants. They feed on insects for their nitrogen requirements. Some part of such plants get modified to trap insects. The very common example is pitcher plant. In this plant, the leaves get modified to form a pitcher with a lid which is able to open and close the mouth of the pitcher. The pitcher is lined with downward pointing hairs, so when an insect enters, it cannot climb back out against the hairs and ultimately falls to the bottom of the lip and gets digested by the juices present there. Another mode of nutrition is saprotrophic nutrition. In Greek, sapros means rotten and trophic means food or nutrition. So it is the mode of nutrition in which the organisms feed on dead and decaying organic matter. The food gets digested outside the cell, even outside the body of the organism. Such type of digestion is called extracellular digestion. These organisms are called as saprotrophs or saprophytes, which secrete digestive juices or enzymes directly onto the food by making the food soluble and then absorb it directly. For example, some fungi like Rhizopus or bread mold, mucor or pin mold, yeast, mushroom or agaricus, and some bacteria. Let's read about another very interesting topic called symbiosis. What is this? It is also known as symbiotic relationship in which sometimes two organisms live in close association with each other and are mutually benefited. In Greek, symbion means to live together. Here we will discuss in details about two examples. Our first example is lichen. It is a living partnership between a fungus and an alga. Let's see how both of them depend upon each other. The fungus absorbs water and provides shelter to the alga, and the alga prepares food for the fungus by photosynthesis. From the pictures, you can clearly see how both alga and fungus are found in the body of the lichen. So, both of them are mutually benefited. Our second example is a bacterium called Rhizobium. It lives in the root nodules of the leguminous plants or pulses. It acts as a biological nitrogen fixture. As we know that air contains 78% of nitrogen, we are unable to absorb the nitrogen directly from the atmosphere, but we need nitrogen for growth of our body. Rhizobium converts the nitrogen into the usable forms like nitrites and nitrates, which can be utilized by the plants. The plants in turn provide food and shelter to the bacterium. Now we will read about how are nutrients replenished in the soil. When we grow plants or crops in the soil, they utilize the soil nutrients. Slowly the nutrients are lost from the soil. So we have to replenish the lost nutrients of the soil in order to maintain its fertility and productivity. Here the question comes, how to get back the soil nutrients again? Number 1. Artificially we add manures and fertilizers to enrich the soil with nutrients. Number 2. Decomposers like some bacteria and fungi naturally grow on dead and decaying organisms and help in decomposition, which enriches the soil with nutrients. Number 3. As we have discussed, Rhizobium helps in making the soil rich in nitrogen by nitrogen fixation. In this ways, the lost nutrients can be replenished in the soil. Thank you.